Hello and welcome to Eye on the Money, the television show that gives you insights into how to improve your financial well-being as well as make your money work for you. I'm Ingrid Nantege. Today on the show, we discuss budgeting and saving during the festive season. Now the holidays are fast approaching and all that merrymaking can be very expensive. You can, however, plan by making use of a budget so you can save time, money, and still somehow manage to have a good time through the festivities. Joining me on the show to help us understand how we can do this is none other than personal finance coach, leader, and author of Mastering Your Money, Chacha Nyaigoti Bichanga. You're welcome to the show, Chacha.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Also very, very timely.
Well, this is the moment.
Actually, I'd had a very small discussion just to touch a bit on preparing for the festive season, but I'm happy we're here to talk about the specifics of budgeting, saving. So just to get into the beef of it, Chacha, the festive season is already here, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, we're well into December today, and we usually see, generally, it's difficult for people to budget and save. But it gets even more difficult as we get closer to the end of the year with the festivities. As someone who's sitting here, in the personal finance space and deals directly with people who talk about, money behaviors, why do you think this is? Why do you think we struggle so much and every year it's the same old story?
Thank you, Ingrid, for the invitation. I would want to say that this is the time that we spend on expenses which are emotionally determined. This is the time that we are actually heading to the Christmas. In this December, we have a lot of festivities. We have the weddings, the so-called ratio in some quarters. We have baby showers. We have rambles. We have so many WhatsApp groups that are raising money for various consumer-related expenses. We have initiation ceremonies, name them. So the challenge we have is this. What is budgeting all about? Is it necessary at such a time? When we are coming at the end of the year, the question is you should ask ourselves, did we have a budget in the first place? Did we have a plan? That is the big question. Because this now leads us to the question, what is a budget, essentially? Basically, I would want to say that a budget is a spending plan, a guide that tells you how to allocate your money on your most important needs and your wants. Basically that.
Brilliant.
But do we do it? Because at this time of the year, we should be evaluating the budgets we had for this 1 year period. Because it's a plan. Let's say a 1 year plan, a 2 year plan, 5 year plan, 10 year plan. So talk of the short term, medium term, and long term goals. So any question regarding what a budget is all about?
No. So actually you've brilliantly put it, and you've been very honest in saying the only problem is people don't like to plan. Yes. And that's what a budget is supposed to do. It's supposed to be a guideline of everything that you're supposed to come up with. And regardless of whether we have so many festivities, which we usually know are going to come up in December, we usually don't plan. But to stay with that, Chacha, so does that mean then that as I start January, as I'm going into the new year, and I'm pretty much reflecting on my year, I'm coming up with a vision board, I'm coming up with everything I'm trying to achieve, is that when I should make a budget for the festive season? What does that look like?
Well, as you have rightly put it, a budget is a guideline, a blueprint that is prepared and reviewed from time to time. Basically at the beginning of the year or before the year starts, that's the time to start planning. But it's never too late. It's not yet over. If one is not budgeting, still you need to learn why it is important to budget. When we are now in December, December is a festive month whereby now many people are not saving and investing. In fact, in December, people are spending what they have saved. If you add a goal of saving for an holiday, for example, you had set aside, let's say I'm saving for 100,000 so that in December I can go to Dar es Salaam, I can go to Mombasa, I can go to Kampala. This is the time now you are reaping from the fruits of your planning, the fruits of your labor. This time now you evaluate, how far have you come? What are the challenges as you gear towards planning for the new year? The question is, many people don't understand what budgeting is all about. Some actually, there are so many misunderstandings, misconceptions, myths about budgeting. One of them, people say it is boring, too boring in fact. Some say it is meant for people who have money, that is the rich, the business people, and therefore, you know, we have been socialized by society, by even the mass media. Thank God that Metropole is socializing us in the right way. That spending is good, the feel good kind of spending, buying things here and there. Now, the people find it boring because they don't have the knowledge. People think that they should have money in order to budget. Whereas budgeting, you budget for what you have, be it 500 shillings, 1,000 shillings, 2,000. What do I want to do with the money I have? So that you write it down, or you can use the mobile apps or your mobile phone, your computer, to write down the most important expenses. Because you are going to determine, I'm going to allocate, let's say, 500 shillings for, let's say, if you are paying, they say, the NHIF, if let's say your employer is not deducting that automatically, you are going to use, let's say, 1,000 shillings. I want to use this for, let's say, that is transport. I want to buy food. See, the myths and misunderstandings make us actually fail. Some people start and midway they stop. Why? If you had 10,000 shillings, you have planned for it and you have realized you have spent 15,000, not the expected 10,000. People get discouraged. Why? The fear of failure. They don't do it. The easiest way of doing it is this. Track. The first thing, track your expenses. Know where your money is going. Also, you need to know how much money are you getting. Yeah? So that now, you know my source of income. Let's say if I'm employed, I have a salary. Maybe I have a business, I'm rearing chicken. I have maybe some taxi business somewhere. So all those sources of income put together totals to something. And then we have expenses, whereby now you have what we call voted. First, you have to track your expenses daily. Then summarize that into voted on weekly and monthly basis. You have a financial statement. That is not rocket science. But to somebody who has never written down a budget, it sounds something new, something so difficult to do, yet it is very simple. So in other words, we need to overcome these myths, misunderstanding that a budget is difficult, is boring, is meant for people who have money. Let us learn a budget is a way of building our industry. If you ask yourself, how much money you spent since you began the morning, definitely you may have, if you have a car, you have fueled your car. If you don't, you have actually paid matatu. When you woke up, you took breakfast, you have paid the food industry. Yeah. Even you brushed your teeth, you had to take a shower. You have paid other people's factory, you bill other people's factory without knowing. The question is, what factory are you billing? Do you have a factory in the first place? Do you have an industry? So a budget helps you plan your money and take control of your finances. It helps you build your factory. Yes, you can ask a question.
Now, Chacha, I would like, and you've actually given us a step-by-step guide and help us understand, like you need to say, this is what I need to attain, this is how much I put away, yes. Like pretty much stick to the budget. However, when we're still having a conversation in line with the festivities, a lot of people, when they think festivities, they think celebrations,
yes.
Grand celebrations, having such a good time. So Chacha, there's someone at home sitting here and saying, this guy is trying to ruin my Christmas. So my question is it still possible to, and you've actually been very honest by saying it's not too late. The people who are panicking right now, feeling like December is here, it's still possible to get it done. Whereas maybe the people who had planned earlier, they're already on course. Now, for those people who are maybe trying to figure it out right now, still trying to have a good time but still stay on a budget, what sort of advice would you give? And I would like to ask a question in line with promotions, sales, deals. Around this time, there's so many. So there's a heavy temptation to want to take advantage. Or although usually that will lead to, like, maybe if you've planned 10,000, you end up going into 15,000.
Yes.
What would be your advice on that?
My simple advice at such a time is that one, as I've said, first have a plan, set your goals. At such a time now, you are now, let's say, budgeting for the festive season. This is December. This is 1st December. What you need to do now, look at the what you need in terms of the food, in terms of the people you need to help, in terms of the weddings, in terms of the friends who have Harambes. So put it down in terms, I would like to say that now one should work with a percentage kind of thing. Remember, some time back we talked of the 80-20 rule,
Yes.
but I want to break it down to 50-20-30. When we talk of 80-20 here, 20% goes to savings and 80 for other expenses. So you begin with what? 20%. Then 80% comes later. You can break it into 50 and 30. 50 for the most important needs, the food, the rent, talk of the utility, the water, electricity. And then when you come to the 30% entertainment, you can even adjust and reduce it. This is the time now that 30% entertainment now comes in, where now you are spreading and say, for example, I can say 10% I'm giving it to friends, donations to friends and so on. The other 10% maybe my family. We are going to have some party, it could be Christmas, maybe 10% of your total earnings, for example, maybe set aside for that. And then one thing now, how do you save? For example, saving at such a time is a bit difficult because as I said, we are here just because we have been planning all the year from January to this point. What you do, the best way to meet so many expenses here, which are consumer related, is to have set a saving target so that you are saving for the whole day, for the festivities. Without that, you'll find people going for loans. Mobile loans are so many because if you are depending on your income, which is not enough, the expenses here are so huge, more than the income, particularly for this month.
Right.
Yeah, so the best thing here is to say, do I have enough? How much do I have for this December? How much have I set aside? Is it 50,000, 20,000? Is it 30,000? If you didn't have that kitty for this festivity now, it is possible. Don't be pressured by society to go for mobile loans or easy to get loans from chamas, banks. Just live within your means. You won't die if you can't meet all the expenses. Nothing will happen. So how do you save now in terms of, you have heard of the Black Friday.
Yes.
Now we have the promotions, we have the deals. These are online deals where you do shopping online. So you can even utilize that and see how much money have I set aside for maybe the things I need for this December. If it is the gadgets, if it is the food items, look at those deals. It is the time to go. It's a way of saving, by the way. Actually, you need to take advantage of that, depending on the money you have set aside. Because you don't go for those deals if you have no budget, if you have no guide, if you have no plan, if you have no amount set aside for that. So plan how much money do you have. You know, the way we spend is different,
Yes.
depending on maybe your age, depending on the size of your family, depending on your
income.
needs.
Yeah.
Even the percentage I've talked about, 80-20, 50-20-30, are not cast in stone. They vary according to your needs and wants. Yeah.
Right.
So that it is important now to sit down. This is 1st December. It's not late. See how much money have I received as salary for November? Yeah, the month that ended yesterday. And how much do you have? What are the needs and wants here? Try to balance. Cancel out the unnecessary expenses here.
Right.
Yeah.
Chacha, and I'm also actually happy that within that point you actually somehow brought up the aspect of debt, which is something I also want to talk about a little more. However, at this point, I'm going to take a very short break. Our audience back home, remember, you can be a part of the conversation by sending your feedback and comments to our social media handles at Metropole TV K on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll be right back.